I'm Buddy Deshler, and with Denis Wick, I'm performance ready.
Hi, my name is Mary Galimi. I'm the product specialist and artist relations manager for Denis Wick products here in North America. And today, I'd like to invite you to the Chicago Denis Wick Advisory Studio. And we have Buddy Deshler, one of our esteemed Denis Wick artists here. We're going to interview him so you can get to know him a little better. So we're going to just jump right into this. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your upbringing as a young trumpet player?
Sure. I started pretty standard in 6th grade playing the trumpet and just kept following my interests, whether that be jazz band or marching band. And then eventually decided to major in music. Wasn't sure what exactly I was going to be doing, but knew I wanted to pursue trumpet. So I went to University of Miami and did my bachelor's and artist diploma there, and then finished my master's at the Peabody Institute in Baltimore.
Great. It's a lot of education.
And then some.
And then some. So to continue on with education studies and to stay focused on music in school for that long, you must have had some pretty strong passions for what you were doing. Is there anything that's kind of followed you through your education that's now in your career that you can say, this is what kept me going?
Sure. I think it was definitely that I was interested in all aspects of music and trumpet playing, whether it's jazz or orchestral, chamber music, just music education in general, teaching. So I just kept following my interests that way, and I never had a really direct career path in mind. But the biggest thing that I learned was that I loved creating. I loved creating events or chamber groups and types of performances, new pieces. I just always loved creating, which is then what made me more of an entrepreneurial musician.
And would you say that your teachers encouraged that kind of expanse into all types of music?
Absolutely.
Throughout your time?
Absolutely, because they all know that being a 21st century musician is really important, and that the music world is always changing, and if you do the exact same thing that every single person is doing, it's really hard to stand out. There's a lot of good Mahler 5s out there, so finding our way of becoming interesting and making our impact in the musical world.
So I know from all of the things that you experienced through education now, you've taken those passions and put them into groups. So there's a huge variety of groups you play now.
Yeah.
There's from electronic to traditional brass quintet to orchestral. I know you do a lot of soloing. What are some of the groups you're playing in right now?
Right, so there's Vice City Brass, based out of Miami, which is brass and electronics, and then Marquee Brass in Baltimore, more of a traditional quintet, and following my interest in arts administration, so creating the Fredericksburg Brass Institute in my hometown, and then also learning about all these skills about being an entrepreneurial musician, an entrepreneurial student, because I was in school when I was developing all these things, which is what led to the lecture series, The Entrepreneurial Student. And then the orchestral playing that I'm doing, and then some of the solo pieces, I'm commissioning new works. That's for B-flat, flugel, cornet, a lot of stuff like that. So keeping busy, playing a lot of different styles and a lot of different groups.
Sounds like it. So for most brass players, the next question is, wow, if you're going to do all of that different style of playing, what kind of equipment are you playing on? Because to do that variety, most people need a variety of things to use. And in my opinion, it starts with the mouthpiece. It's where the it's where all great sound starts, and it's a mantra of Denis Wick that, you know, great sound starts with a great mouthpiece. So where does your great sound start with your equipment?
So it depends on what I'm doing. A lot of the B flat and C, I'm actually using the Denis Wick American Classic 1.5 C. That was an easy switch over once I played it at the 2015 ITG conference. Yeah. And then for my cornet playing and flugelhorn playing, I like to emulate that cornet soloist vibe as well as the British brass band style of playing. So I'm on the Classic Series 4B and 4B FL from Denis Wick.
Are there any specific Denis Wick mutes that you're currently performing on that you just can't do without?
I hit all of them eventually. I end up using all of them because you have it all. You have the straight mute, the piccolo straight mute, the cup mute, the harming mute, the practice mute. You have everything. So I end up using it through all the different styles of playing and all the different groups. I need all of them, pretty much.
Yeah. I can imagine it for the variety that you're doing. Most people are going to also want to know, what type of instruments are you playing on? Because the mouthpiece we're solid on, but, you know, I know that you do a lot of cornet playing, a lot of B flat, a lot of solos, so there's a whole variety of instruments you could be using right now.
Yeah, so I pretty much cover the whole arsenal. So whether it be my solo stuff, which is usually B flat, flugel, cornet, and my recital stuff, which is B flat, flugel, cornet, C. All the orchestral stuff is on C trumpet. And then some of the chamber music is B flat and flugelhorn, and then piccolo and D trumpet as sort of auxiliary instruments whenever needed. So I hit them all.
And so I know that you have a huge passion for helping students start their career in the correct way. So what do you see as the most destructive thing that a student can do to their career, or that you see your colleagues doing to their career around you?
I see this sense of complacency, people not wanting to expand their horizons and be challenged, and that's where a lot of growth comes from change and from challenges. And also, there's this idea, and what the entrepreneurial student is based off of, is that people think that once they finish school or they finish a degree, that they will somehow now have all of the knowledge and tools in which to have a career and develop their career. But really, that's happening right now. Yeah. As far as the relationships that you're forming, the people that you're meeting and hearing, the practicing on your instrument, everything is actually happening right now. It's not all magic at the very end of a career. So developing those skills and those relationships right now, so that way once you're done with school, you just are starting to walk off into your career.
Yeah. So all you incoming freshmen, if you just think this is the beginning of your education, I think it's great advice that Buddy's giving you. It's the beginning of your career, and should put a whole different approach onto how you're going to approach the next 4 years until you get out into the professional world. So that's a great insight. Now, you've received some great insights along the way. What to end on a positive note, what is the best piece of advice, or the best pieces of advice that you've received that have really driven your career?
Yeah, I think back to 3 of my teachers and the different things that I've learned from them and that they focused on. One being Craig Morris at the University of Miami. I remember our first lesson, he said, "You do a lot of things wrong really well." And I didn't know what to think of that at the time, but he focuses so much on having a beautiful sound. And he didn't want the flash and the technique of trumpet to get in the way of what really mattered, which was your sound. And then Phil Snedeker, one of my other teachers, he was very direct and he was very honest, but it was because he knew that that's what it would take to learn. He wasn't going to be doing you any favors by saying that, oh, you sound great, everything's going to be fine. And also his work ethic is incredible. Forming his own group, as well as being a publisher, just insanely talented, insanely musical, insanely driven. And then Joe Bergstaller, I learned so much about being an entrepreneur and really being that 21st century musician and developing the kind of skills and idea that I don't have to be exactly like one person as a player. And he really encouraged figuring out how to be creative and unique in this musical world. And I've continuously learned so much from all of them.
Oh, it's great. It sounds like you've had a lot of great teachers along your way.
I have.
And you know, one of the best ways to grow as a musician yourself is studying and talking to people who have studied with great teachers. So if anybody wants to get in contact with you in the future, whether it be about your entrepreneurial student clinics or just to pick your brain about some sort of musical topic, how can they get a hold of you?
You can contact me on my website, www.buddydeshler.com, or on Facebook and Instagram.
Great. Well, thank you so much for spending your afternoon with us.
My pleasure.
Here at Denis Wick, we are dedicated to providing you with all the tools you need to be performance ready, and our artist group is one of those great resources. So I highly encourage you to take advantage of Buddy's knowledge and contact him. And if you'd like to contact us at any time at the Denis Wick Advisory Studio, or if you have any product questions or just want to chat, feel free to contact us at any time also. Best wishes on all your future endeavors, and we'll see you next time.